Well, we are into yet another episode of this 5-10 cash game session, Grant. Everyone's wearing their masks, and once in a while we play an Omaha bomb pot because why wouldn't you?
Because you don't want to lose a bunch of money to an extremely high variance game, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a really good reason, admittedly. But these guys don't feel that way, and here we are. Digital Dan opening with the Jack 10 of clubs, but he is dominated in clubs by Todd's A7.
Dan, you would expect is going to c-bet on this board, and that's not going to work out too well for him.
Yeah. He's 4% here, and that's not very good.
Is Todd raising?
Yep.
Todd is raising.
Todd raises. This is a... well, I guess if Dan had a lot of draws, that would be a good thing. But if Dan had a real ace, it wouldn't be. And if Dan had the hand he has, not so good either.
As far as I know, and I haven't played online poker, honestly.
Also, Todd min-raised, so the draws aren't going anywhere.
At least you're charging them more, I guess. Of course, they could now re-raise you, and what do you do with A7? There's Todd with that 58%, though.
It's a strong VPIP.
I will say Phil Humuth would min-raise sometimes with top pair, no kicker. Now, he does that heads up. This is even though they were effectively heads up, he does it like when you're heads up. Literally. They're only him and Antonio Esfandiari. It's a little different. He probably does it other times, though, too, though. Let's be honest. Phil frickin' Humuth. Anyway, I got a feud with that guy. Here's Digital Dan.
You're trying to.
Yeah.
You're trying to.
Yeah, I am. He looks dumb in those sunglasses, though, and everyone knows it. Digital Dan letting go of the King Jack under the gun.
I said under the gun as if that were the notable part of it. Like, how could you fold that one under the gun?
No, that's a good
the
point.
Earliest position.
No, you're right. That's the reason why he's folding, in fact, for sure.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that he folded it, and that was my reaction. What is Will doing now?
So many things you have to do.
He's
wasting everyone's time.
I don't know.
He's wasting
the answer to what is Wheel doing at all times is I have no freaking idea.
Fair enough. Well, Dan Ross flops pretty well, and actually Wheel does too.
And during quarantine, all my friends.
Dan leads for 10.
You gotta get on here. Oh my God, bro.
Another 9. That might slow things down.
I mean, the pot is so small, Dan can bet again, I think.
He said Fossil says it's
Probably shutting it down on the river unless he improves.
Yeah, I would think so.
But doesn't have to worry about it.
It's pretty good. You build a pot in case you get there in a stronger way, and sometimes deny equity. Maybe get value from a few worse hands. Not too many.
Like 6, 7, I guess. You can get value from 6, 7.
Yeah.
That guy actually his hand I
That's about it. I mean, it's Pocket 5. Pocket 5 is going to call the flop, but probably not the $35 turn. I guess it could. Could decide you're on a straight draw and call, but everything's calling the flop is the thing. So denying equity on the turn makes some sense. Laminator's like, here's how you play it under the gun.
Yeah, you limp the Queen 8 suited.
okay. We don't bet before the flop.
Todd with a lightning read on Laminator, raising it up to 35 with his suited wheel.
Wonka calling. I expected Wonka would have some 3-bets there. Todd has been pretty sporadic. Ooh, and good for Wonka for not 3-betting as we see Wheel has the ladies.
I don't know if this is big enough to get through. Now, Wheel, of course, does want to get value with his hand, so it's okay if it doesn't fold everyone out. But he might get 2 callers here.
I think if Todd folds, Wonka folds, and if Todd calls, Wonka calls.
Wonka is in position. Let's see what he does. He does have to worry about being dominated, which he is. But position is pretty good.
Somehow he has 58%. Must be based on folded cards.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe there are no queens left.
Yeah.
Wonka does decide to call. That position is a little too tempting.
That's all I know.
He was also getting over 2-1. I think if he's offsuit, if it's offsuit, he folds.
I don't think he calls initially if it's offsuit.
Yeah, fair enough.
He does flop a 10, but that's not what Wheel's worried about.
This could
He does
work
not
out
like
for
to
Wonka.
see that ace.
$8 collection.
He might have flopped too well to win this hand, if you know what I mean. He might be
Bad at all.
happy with his showdown value and not take aggressive actions that he may have taken if he had something like King Jack instead.
Yeah, that's possible.
$10 a dealer, right?
Well, Wonka now, both players with straight draws. In fact, Wheel checks again. And
Surprised not to see a bet from Wheel on the turn. I feel like it's a good time for a bet.
Wonka not falling into the trap. And another jack. Looks like Wheel's going to try and go for
I don't
value
love
now.
betting now as Wheel.
Yeah,
I don't think Wheel should bet now. I think Wonka does have some trip jacks in his range that he would play exactly this way.
100%.
And I like the check.
Wonka checks it right back and really minimizes the damage. Wonka certainly could have lost at least one more street of value there pretty easily, maybe even two. Probably just one.
I'm guessing by the end there, Wonka was putting Wheel on exactly queens or kings and decided it wasn't worth taking a shot.
I mean, sometimes Wheel might have sevens and just be not wanting to put money into the pot.
True.
I would hope sometimes Wheel has sevens because otherwise Wonka should take a more aggressive line once in a while.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, Wheel did 3-bet out of the small blind against some relatively early action. I don't think he has that many pocket pairs under the 10.
I mean, we have seen him do stuff like that in the past at least once in a while.
Jay, not a fan.
But not very often.
Yeah, not very
Mostly
often.
he's just calling in that spot.
Yeah. No, I think
Kings and
Wonka's-
queens are way more likely in the range.
Sure.
there.
No. This is why I think like if we think that's true, like Wonka could also decide to, take shots, especially when the ace when Wheel checks the flop. Where Wonka could, once in a while anyway, bluff all three streets or two of the three streets or something like that, and see if he can fold out queens.
I thought it was the
I think once the turn comes is when Wonka can start taking shots, and you might get it done with 2 streets. But
Maybe.
the flop still feels like it could be Wheel getting trappy.
Oh, of course it
But when
could.
he checks again,
Yeah, less likely when he checks again. Anyway, here's Todd 3-betting the ace queen suited, giving Chris a tasty price. Even Laminator definitely has to come in with those 2 tenths. That's right. I said tasty price.
Plus 99.
peace, love, unity, and
the price is tasty, not the product.
flops.
Huh.
Flops stuff.
Well, I mean, if it's not food. Anyway, no one has a heart. These guys are. It's all machinery in there. Whoa, that suddenly was a big bet. It feels like.
Are you surprised to see Todd check the flop?
I am a little surprised. I'm also surprised that he bet 400 into 300 on this turn card, which is a third heart. Admittedly,
Yeah.
it's unlikely either player has a flush right now based on how it's been played. You'd expect Chris would have probably led the turn, and Laminator might have. Either one of them might have led the turn.
Yeah, and now if you have a single heart in your hand, you can't really call profitably. So Todd is accomplishing that.
Yeah. I mean, he probably assumes he has the best hand. He's almost always right. But, man, every time he doesn't, he will not fold out a better hand, I don't think.
Oh, no. Ace, king, or better, I don't think is folding. But that's not a very large part of his opponent's ranges,
No, I agree.
especially when they don't lead the turn, like you said. Like if they turn to set or flop to set, a bet's probably going in on the turn before Todd has a chance to act. And same goes for hearts.
There just aren't that many hands that can call that bet that he's beating either. Like maybe ace jack with the jack
Yeah.
of hearts can consider it. There's just not that much there.
I agree with that.
So the bet
I agree with that.
The bet I guess works to win the pot, but his hand has so much value that I think it's a little problematic. Even though I agree it's a pretty safe bet in that he almost always has the best hand. Anyway, let's Omaha it up and see if we can, try and analyze what the hell's going on in real time. Good luck us.
Good luck us when they're doing double board bomb pots in the future on
Yeah,
this
that's
on
coming.
this show.
That's coming relatively
Omaha.
soon, I'll tell you. All right. Well, we're still waiting to get all the hands in. Elena, if you could. No? Okay. She sort of nodded that she's aware. Okay. She's getting better. She's bringing them in a little bit at a time.
Looks like Dan Ross has trips for the best hand right now.
From State Farm. Jake from State Farm.
And he is betting.
Awesome.
We don't know what Wheel has.
Wheel's thinking for a while, but that doesn't mean he has anything at all. Let's be clear. It's Wheel.
Waitress ever come around?
Wheel's the slow motion man.
press my button for the waitress.
Which button?
He does.
Wonka
call.
has top with the backdoor flush draws, 2 backdoor flush draws. So Wonka could consider calling.
He'd also be the one closing the action if no one raises, which makes it a little bit more attractive for him, I think.
Wheel has a better trips. He's got the queen with the deuce.
Ah.
And the
See if Wonka just lets it go. Wonka doesn't want to get involved with any flush draws when the board's already paired, which has got to be right.
check to the wheel.
Dan Ross cannot like his situation here. He knows he doesn't have big-time kickers. He could be already drawing dead.
They have a chance.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Let's see if he even calls this
I don't
turn
need
bet.
anything. He needs the Lakers to win.
Last episode, he folded trips on the flop without putting a single dollar in one of these
Just a win
spots.
guy? Outright? Okay.
Yeah, as we've discussed, I think we certainly have nowhere near
Well, it was tough
solved
not to win
Omaha
the game.
bomb pots, but it seems clear that being tight is the way to go, and this is just going to absolutely kill action here.
Yeah.
We love it.
If Wheel were to somehow find a bet, Dan Ross certainly wouldn't call anyway. There's no value for Wheel to be had. Yeah, and he knows it. Dan Ross is like, yeah, I don't really ever win now.
Your queen's good.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. This, oh my.
My goodness.
What kind of boat you got?
Pretty tough to find a way that he wins now, that's for sure.
Yeah. It was already pretty bad, and it just got worse. I guess the good news is he doesn't have to make any kind of a decision on the river. It was going to be, no matter what Wheel did, Dan Ross was definitely not putting any more money in. unless he
Yeah,
went
the
for
sweet
a big
embrace.
bluff, you know.
The sweet embrace of nothingness is underrated in poker.
In
Just
Yeah, this
the
is
feeling of
a good
nothing.
one to miss.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's a good one to miss.
I mean, everyone knew that.
Bomb pot. GTO.
That was obvious.
Getting a nice long look at the sponsor there. That's how you pay the bills.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Jake Dahl is up, but he's also not here. So he's literally up, if you will. Todd playing that queen
Are you
eight
sure he
suited.
hasn't? Are you sure he hasn't transformed into that cord sitting at his seat?
I suppose I'm not sure. You know, I didn't see him actually leave. It's much like
Yeah.
Peter Parker and Spider-Man being in the same room at the same time. Never seen that. Can't say for sure that, you know, who is and who isn't Spider-Man.
Awesome. Jeez.
Don't do it, Todd.
See, the thing is, like,
Same way as people say,
Yeah.
is Jake Dahl a human or a cord?
right. Superman's like so fast that he could sort of be in the same room at the same time almost. Like Clark Kent goes to the bathroom and Superman flies in through the other window like 10 seconds later. Spider-Man's not that quick though, you know.
That's not the same time, man. You're missing the point.
I'm not missing anything. Jake is a cord.
The old fuck Jack.
No contact.
2 spades here for Dan Ross.
I played that so well, I don't know.
And it's been
why.
checked to him.
Looks like
He's going to win.
I think Todd folded before Dan got to bet.
Yeah.
Is what happened there.
I'm gonna bet. Well, GTO says third pot, so I was gonna bet a third pot.
That's how Dan does it. He wins the tiny ones and loses the big ones.
30.
The computer.
Dan
The
Ross.
computer disagrees with
Computer
GTO.
says 10. I didn't bet it.
At least he's not a cord.
He's in. Oh.
You don't know. That's pretty prejudicial against cords, in fairness. Hashtag cord life.
Put
Oh.
Well, now we.
Jake's a human.
Or-
is just an auxiliary piece of his machinery.
Or
something.
he's gotten someone else to pretend to be Jake Dahl. That guy's wearing a mask. I don't know who that is.
That's true. That's true.
What are these for?
Thinking.
And he's gotten someone else to pretend to be Jake Dahl specifically so we would think Jake Dahl is not a cord. You know, Spider-Man once had Daredevil pretend to be Spider-Man for the same reason. It's brilliant.
You need to go pee while you.
Oh my God, you're such a nerd.
Daredevil's blind though, so you know. They could have been like, "How many fingers am I holding up, Spider-Man?" Would have given some stuff away. Anyway, here we go. Some open enders for people. Jake and Todd. That's about it.
You said for people.
Yeah, Jake and Todd.
Are you sure?
Is that not
And
people?
you're sure Jake's a person and not a cord?
That is a fair question. Looks like Todd's going to raise it up.
It does, but it was necessary.
Nice counting.
He's got a backdoor flush draw to go along with his straight draw. He's min raising again. He likes the min raise.
He does. Jake's MO so far has been to just call in these spots and fold unimproved on the river when the bets are too big. Not crazy. Well, that's a
Good
card.
turn card for Todd.
Yeah. Jake has the best hand, but Todd usually wins right here if he sizes this any reasonably at all. Oh, it looks like he's loading up for another one of those overbets.
Can we get one for Nick? He's been so quiet.
125.
Nope. But
You can just
that might be too much for Jake.
hand sanitizer. and-
125 with just an open ender, a 1-card open ender at that. I think it is a fold.
Yeah, me too.
Is it heads up?
If Jake could only see the cards.
Tell me, yeah.
You can show me? Show me. It sound like
Game
you
would be
want.
easier if you could see the cards.
I want to tell you.
I like the show.
It would be. I would find it easier, for sure. We don't even know if that's Jake, though.
Wild West to the extreme.
I have two big draws.
Just a guy with a mask. That's all I know.
Pretty big wild west,
Jake gets the really bad news.
Most of the draws.
I mean, he was ahead, but was he ever going to win the pot?
I mean, he could have rivered a queen. That would have done it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I guess. And decide to check call.
Yeah. And we're back. Feel free to gamble on nitrogen, people. They are the sponsor. There's nothing wrong. They're good folk. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to the game. Game of Thrones.
Damn shill.
Game of Thrones.
Nick, then where are you gonna sleep tonight?
Wonka has a hand.
Down by the river.
Wonka's face could have really been in a
Nove.
pretty intense accident, or like he could have severe reconstruction surgery. We just wouldn't know. His chin could go much longer down. You just can't tell with that bandana, you know?
I mean, that's just the world we live in now.
Well, I'm saying, like, look at Laminator. I see where his chin is. You know? But I'm just saying, Wonka,
You are an expert at chin location.
yes, normally. But Wonka is look, I can't. I mean, lots of weird stuff could be going on underneath that bandana. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Normal. That's a normal thing to say. It's good.
Indeed. Top for Wonka. Laminator has a gutter and a backdoor nut flush. If it's cheap enough, he can stick around. Wonka checks.
Levy, you got to learn to say the word draw after
Yeah.
the word flush sometimes.
I say backdoor flush. Yeah, you're right. Still got to say draw. Laminator checks as well. Takes the free one. Well,
Well, good one for Wonka.
there are a few chops out there, but I guess Digital Dan can hit too. Wonka's really has to bet now. I guess he doesn't have to, but I would expect him to. Get some value.
I don't think he's going to get any, though. I'm pretty sure it's just going to go fold.
Yeah.
Fold.
But if someone had
That's pretty small, it looks like.
there's definitely hands he can get value out of. I don't know if they're on this. I don't think they exist on this board, but I mean, in this actual hand. But lots of hands that could have played it this way that would call. Jack 10.
Yeah.
Any jack, really.
One for Nick.
Looks like he's betting almost to get called by a 10,
I'll take a draw.
which sort of makes sense, right? The only card that he fears if someone has a 10 is a 9. An ace would be a great card for someone. For him, against a 10.
I can hit a 10 of spades, so I can hit royal.
And he lets it go because it's just not enough
That's pretty good hand.
to hold on. It's like Wilson Phillips.
Bad fold.
The kids don't get that reference, Jonathan.
I barely get that reference, Grant. Wilson,
And you're what, 73, 74?
I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on those numbers. I'm not there yet, but I'm
Good.
working on it. It's not easy. Not easy getting old, you know? It's hard work to get older. You got to stay alive. People underrate that, but staying alive is it's a skill. Much like free throw shooting.
In a way.
Much like free throw shooting. Of course it is.
And we both
Perfect analogy. Free throw shooting in life.
we both
Thanks.
get stuck like right away.
Does that mean Shaq's not going to make it much longer?
Well, I I don't want to, say anything that's going to get me in trouble, but no, he's probably not going to make it. I mean,
we know the dangers.
he's a big man.
There's a chance that bad things could happen, and then this is out there, and then we look like
Oh,
complete jerks.
God, I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's a big dude. It's harder to, it's harder to make it like into your 90s when you're that big. But I'm not a doctor. What do I know? All right, let's get back to this. It's things we can actually talk about with any level of expertise.
Me and Nick flop set over.
Todd and Chris both with diamonds.
Both boat up. Nick stacks me, and then I have to drive home.
And we can't see it, but I'm pretty sure Chris bet. There we go.
No.
Yep.
Got him. That's not.
I refer to that day as the best day of my life.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
That's like an accelerator that pretty much throws you into like a year 15 of a marriage or something. Like he just starts at every sentence. You're like, shut up.
So fucking cool. The best day. I don't think we ever both won on the
Really?
same day. I don't know. It was always one of us would win great and the other would get destroyed.
Yeah.
Where's the 25?
And then we'd have to drive home, and one would be in like the best mood ever, and the other would be like,
That's
"Fuck my life."
That's not a good drive home.
No, it's
You might want to
not.
consider not careful. Like,
That is such a nut.
Yeah.
You know, but the person that lost 4K would get like free Burger King though.
Free
You know?
quiz.
So.
Once again, clubs are dominated.
You didn't mention that there was a free roll involved.
Okay, that makes sense.
Will wheel continue. It's not a great board, but kind of an orphan flop usually. Doesn't connect with too many hands.
Where's that, up in Seattle?
135.
That's another raise. Todd playing very aggressively on the flop, Grant.
wardrobe.
He likes to raise the flop with marginal hands. We've seen. I think he's very into the idea of protecting his hands when they are vulnerable, and it looks like he's actually getting value from wheel here, which is cool for him.
Well,
And
wow.
now he really wants to get called on the turn. He's really hoping wheel has an overpair.
Yeah, if it was the 8 of clubs, he would have been able to get some more value, but I can't imagine wheel's ever going to call another card, but it goes check, check. Todd really gave him all the rope, but I guess wheel could bluff this. He probably should bluff it, honestly, but he chooses not to.
Yeah, if you know anything about Todd and you know that he's raising hands like 8s on this flop, obviously you don't want it to be 8 specifically, but it's probably a good time to bluff. Turns out it would have been a terrible time to bluff.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like Vegas in the summer.
Todd calls enough that I don't know that bluffing the river is really the best line against him anyway. If he's going to raise a lot of flops, probably just 3-betting the flop a lot is going to be more effective.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Classic, find out where they are and just lie. Tell them they're in bad shape. Anyway, Todd wins that one. Had the best hand on every street. Now, I know Wheel almost certainly would have folded to a turn bet. But when Todd turns a set of 8s after raising and getting called on the flop, it feels like kind of a really good time to bet to me. You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of wheels hands include 9s and overpairs,
Yeah.
and those are not going to fold. So I think when you have an opportunity and you get the poker god's blessing on the turn there, you should try to maximize value. I agree.
I mean, generally you should be trying to maximize value in cash games or anywhere really in poker anyway, but like especially like your opponent's shown a willingness to hang on and has something because they called the raise. This time it wouldn't have worked out, but yeah. Todd didn't actually lose value that time, but that line loses value, I think, when you turn the set.
I agree. He's got a big hand now.
Yeah.
But Chris has a pretty bad hand. Looks like he's going to call anyway.
Maybe he just doesn't respect Todd's racing range here. I would surprise Chris called here. Chris, of course, folded the second nuts against Wheel earlier on in this session a few episodes ago. It was an Omaha bomb pot, but still he folded middle set. And he got 3-bet. Todd, once again, not
Todd
putting any
checks twice.
action in at all when he has a set. Finally has to bet, and
Chris has the nut blocker if he wants to get a little creative, but decides not to.
Todd even shows that he has a set of queens. I don't know, man. I feel like this is just
Something that we noted early in this session is that it seemed like Todd was doing a lot of the strong is weak, weak is strong type thing, and I think we've seen that over the past couple hands as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to play your sets all sneaky like that, okay. But then showing everyone that you're doing it, you better change and not keep doing that. Otherwise, also, when are you going to flop a set again? It's so hard to flop that strong, you know? I mean, I know
Why are
Todd
you saying
just
that
did
to
it.
Todd who just flopped 2 sets
Yeah.
in a row or turned one and then flopped one?
You're right. So maybe in his mind, he's like, I'm going to river the next one. This is easy.
Yeah.
It is an incredible feeling to just flop a bunch of sets in a session. 2 in a row like that, where it just feels like suddenly math no longer exists. Todd steals Jake's chips. You don't see that too often in a televised poker game.
I don't think that's allowed. Poker time is a little bit more free flowing. We play Wild West rules, so maybe it's allowed in
It's
this
hard
game.
to
You can
know.
just take people's chips.
Really hard to know. Digital Dan called the big blind with 8-6 off, and here we go. Top pair for Jake. That's mostly it. Little bit of something for Digital Dan too. I don't even know if Dan should call this bet when Jake bets into 3 other players, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Jake's a savvy player. You're not going to get a ton of value on a 6. On an 8, you might get some value because that's more disguised, but Jake's going to be very wary of a 6 pairing. So to call for implied odds is not necessarily a great idea with middle pair there against a player like Jake either.
Yeah, I just don't think Jake's bluffing very often there, and I don't think he has a hand like queens very often there either. When it's a 4-way pot, you know, I don't think he's going to continue just to continue. I think he's playing his hand for value, which is correct. I think that's the right thing to do, but it also he's forced to play more face up. So I like the fold by the digital one, El Digitale. He who does not exist in corporeal space.
So we're not seeing an actual person there either. We got a chord and we've got a digital manifestation of a consciousness.
I mean, we accept all players in poker time. You know, we're not speciesist of any kind. And we're back to Omaha, by the way. Feels good. Does anyone have an 8? Doesn't look like it, but there are 3 hands still obscured because Elena is not really interested. Admittedly, she's eating a donut. It would be great, Elena, if you could.
That sounds pretty good.
It looks amazing too, quite frankly. It's Boston cream. If you could give us the hands, that would be. Okay, she's aware of it, but she's sort of giving me the "I'll get to it when I get to it" look. So we'll see what happens.
Pretty sure this one's on the players. We can't blame Elena for every little miscue.
Well, hey, there's Wheel, and Wheel has an 8 with an ace in his hand. That's a big one. Wheel's got a very good hand here.
Sign it up.
He's only losing to pocket 3s and 8-3,
I really do.
and he's got outs against everything.
No.
As you see, Wheel 90%.
You don't think so?
As we take a look at the only players who are no longer in the hand.
Todd is thinking. There you go. He calls.
He's artistic.
I don't know. I feel like Todd could have an overpair here. Doesn't have to have an 8. There's a queen on the turn.
There it is.
Oh.
Todd has an 8 also.
With an ace. Yeah, so they're chopping right now. Good news for Wheel is Todd's only got 2 outs to improve. Only a 5. Wheel has more outs. Any deuce, any 9. But this is usually going to be a chop. So Todd just leads after check calling the flop. That's sort of weird.
You're missing something there, Levy. Todd has a flush draw now, which is why Todd has more equity
You're right.
than Wheel.
You're right. Good catch. This is the old, we don't know what the hell we're doing bit, you know, when we're doing Omaha bomb pots. Wheel calls, as he really has to. Wow.
And it is a 5.
Wow.
The unlikely way Todd gets there.
That's the way which might get Todd paid off. Todd goes all in. Whoa, 1.3 into 600. That may not get him paid off.
I don't think you can call as wheel. You don't have. You need a full house to call.
Look how fast he
I
quickly.
think this might actually be a bit of a game theory disaster from Todd. I think Wheel needs a full house to call, and maybe not even 8-3 is going to call. I'm not sure.
I mean, did you see how fast Wheel folded? He folded like
Yeah.
instantly. Instantly. Yeah, a normal bet I think gets called by Wheel. Well, Elena's letting me know with sort of a disinterested look that was the last hand of this session. So Todd is very happy. Wheel, I guess, is happy he got away from it. And we will see you guys next Tuesday for another Poker Time where you'll be happy. It'll be the last episode of this session. Wait for the fireworks.